Good gaming morning to you, whether you're tossing dice, flipping pages, stroking that brush, or mashing them buttons. We have your six on all things gaming. As always, my name is Michael Smith, and to my right,
Eddie Jakes.
And this is Basement Quest. We had last week it took off. We found the issues of being in a confined space for a very long time, a.k.a. playing D&D on Sunday right after we did the Delta Green episode.
Yes.
And everybody ended up contracting something from Rob. He just passed that around like a taco. Let me tell you what.
I lost my singing voice. And so we're scrambling to record and get this up tonight.
Yeah, so it's gonna be a rough one. We really appreciate you guys, being patient with this.
And last week, the support for Vince from Black Project Gaming was amazing.
We just can't
thank you enough.
Big shout out. And while we got your attention, make sure you guys are hitting that subscribe and make sure you hit that bell so you get the notification and little ding every time that we're live, because that's when you're going to get the notification that we're out there. And just like you said, Vince, what a great interview he threw out there, man. I was super excited. He even offered, if we want, to join the Roll20?
Yep. Get on Roll20 and try out some Delta Green. I might take him up on that.
Yeah, I think I might too. It's pretty cool. It was definitely a really cool interview. We got a lot of feedback on that. And unfortunately, right now we're in the coronavirus scare. Everybody is, sitting at home. So it's a perfect time to catch up on all your Basement Quest goodness. We have, I don't know, did you put that the new big battle we just did up there?
No, I'm working on that still.
So we'll have that content coming up there for you guys. So we're going to have some good stuff for you guys as you're quarantined with all your toilet paper. And it's going to be a good time for you guys to write your adventures too. All those things that you guys wanted to do. You see what I'm saying? Like,
that's what I'm doing.
This is a good time for nerds to do their things. I broke out like some of my Tau, so I'm going to throw some videos up there of me going back and paint my Kroot and all that stuff. I got to get those guys done because now I got all my Blood Angels that I got to catch up on. Yes. We have a lot planned.
Yeah, there's always something to do.
Always something to do, and it's always going to be on Basement Quest, and that's what we're excited about. So we're heading back to the guides that we had planned going on. I'm going to be doing the D&D 5th edition Rogue this time, as it's called. I believe there's only 5 subclasses that I'm going to break down. I'm going to tell you what I believe are some of the best feats that you should use. Obviously, your pros, your cons, and stuff like that. And I believe you touched a little bit on it when it was
Palladium considers them all men of arms.
Right.
Basically, anyone it's magic other than magic. So I'm going to touch on some classes that are still left over from some of the other books.
A couple little tips and tricks on how you can make your thief just a little bit better. That's how we're going to hit it off. So we're going to go right into the meat and potatoes of the show. And we hope that you guys really, really like this. And we hope that you guys really, really, really like the guides too, because we've gotten a lot of good feedback on it. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
Like, and it's funny because one of my players actually took my advice and changed one of his feats out and took Lucky, and it worked for him.
Yes.
Who would have known? You know what I'm saying?
Don't discount luck. It's a game of chance.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's what I love about this. All right, so let me break this down real quick for you. Obviously, the rogue, everything that you think about the rogue is exactly that. He's your scout. He's your trap disarmer. He is your lock picker. He's your striker, if you will. The one thing he is not is a lot of hit points. So you need to make sure that your rogue is taken care of by a tanky tank.
Keep in mind, a rogue class is a thinking class. You really need to strategize.
Good call.
Not saying other players don't think with their character, but let's keep it real. A barbarian is pretty much go in there, kill all of the things, leave.
Mm-hmm, exactly.
So
typically your rogues are split into 2 types. You have your ranged rogue and you have your up close and personal rogue, or a melee rogue. The melee rogues tend to go with 2 weapons because then you get twice the chance of going for a sneak attack. And of course, your ranged attacks, they typically rely on sniping and stealth and getting up on a higher ground to do their damage there. One of the worst things about Rogue, obviously, hit points. You're not going to have a lot of them, so you don't want to be on that front line. You don't want to be anywhere next to that front line. Like I said, get yourself...
Keep your friends close and your healer closer.
Get yourself a nice tanky tank. That's what you need to do. Your dexterity saves, obviously, you want to put a lot into dexterity, and a lot of your saves are going to be coming from dexterity. So as long as you put a good amount of your points in towards dexterity, you're going to be absolutely fine. Proficiencies, they get all the weapon proficiencies they possibly need, including the Thieves' Tool proficiency. Make sure you get that early. I know that they say, you could turn around and you can, if you read it, it says, okay, I can be proficient in 2 weapons right off the bat. And it's tempting. It is very tempting. But do not forget, you need those tools. You need the Thieves' Tools. That is first and foremost. Obviously, the
play your character.
Right. The bread and butter of the thief, your sneak attack. It's a source that does the most damage for the rogue, so you need to make sure that you put yourself in a good position to constantly use this to your advantage. The expertise of a rogue, they are almost a jack of all trades, but they can expertise in pretty much anything that you can think that they can do to make them, obviously, a better thief. Cunning actions, it's a fantastic option for sneak attack. Archers can use the hide to stay hidden between attacks, and melee rogues can use the dash and disengage to move around the battlefield more often. It gives you a good way to, like I said, like if you're a ranged rogue, you like pop up, take your shot, pop back down, and you're hidden again. If you're one of these dash and dine rogues, as we like to call them, you go in, you hit, you do your damage, and bam, you're all set.
If you're a rogue too, like I can't stress this enough, do not discount the use of poison. Poison can cause initial damage. It can also cause damage throughout the entire combat round. So don't discount the use of poison if you're shooting from a range.
Right, exactly. That's a big thing.
Because it's almost, if you break it down, so you hit once with poison, like say a dagger, and there's damage for however many rounds, that's almost like someone else is fighting along with you when you're in a one-on-one competition against another creature.
Exactly. I'm going to break down the abilities real quick of the basic rogue, and then I'll pass it on to Ed, and we'll do the subclass breakdown. Like I said, I believe I have 5 of them. The rogues was one of the ones that, like the fighter has like 6 of them. And you can find all of these in the different, obviously the player's handbook only has 3 of them. I believe it was the Xanther's Guide to Everything has another one of them, and then I'd have to look up the last one, but they have like 2 more from there. But so breaking it down real quick, Uncanny Dodge. This is, like I said, one of the biggest things that a rogue gets. It's pretty much you draw a handful of. You can prevent taking a large amount of damage. So it's like if you call Uncanny Dodge, I believe it takes half. I believe it's half. So if somebody hits you for like 60 points of damage, and like I said last week, we just had a thief on the table. I think he is a thief. That's one of the subclasses. But he ended up doing Uncanny Dodge, and if he didn't do it, he was dead. Mm-hmm. Like it saved his life. Evasion. Pretty much, it's the same idea of Uncanny Dodge, except you completely evade the attack. This makes the rogue very hard to kill, but you have to be smart, just like Ed was saying. You have to be a very thinking player when it comes to that. Reliable talent. It's an expertise skill. It's great for motivation, pick up like skilled feats and stuff like that. Blind sense. Locating invisible creatures, which we all know can be a pain in the ass, and this is a way that the rogue really, like I said, besides just traps and picking, the locks and everything else, this is the way to go at. Slippery Mind. Your wisdom isn't always great, but with this level of proficiency, it's enough to actually give you a little backup. Because if you want to, throw like say points into something, dump it off into wisdom, because this will allow you to say protect you against mages. Elusive, once again, this is much later. So you get elusive, evasion, and uncanny dodge. All 3 of these make it extremely, like I said, you're extremely hard to kill if put in right such situations. Stroke of luck, essential when the chips are down and you just can't afford. Essentially, the stroke of luck is it's a re-roll of everything and of one specific action. Obviously, strength is a dump stat. You really don't need to worry about strength if you're a rogue. Dexterity. They run on dexterity. You need the highest dexterity you can possibly get if you plan on making a rogue. Constitution, hit points are always important, obviously, so this could be like your secondary. Charismas, rogues are usually the face of your party. They're the talkers, they're the diplomats, they're the ones that go in and bullshit the king, sort of say. So charisma is a good one. Wisdom, intelligence, not a big deal. Like I said, strength, let that be your dump stat. Let that, take care of it from there. And then real quick, obviously, elves make great rogues. The bird people make great rogues. Gnomes, half-elves, halflings, humans, of course, because they get all the feats. Kobolds make great, I've always seen this, people doing kobolds left and right. Tabaxis, Teflings, they make great changelings. They'd be a good one. And I'd say that's about it from there. So why don't you go ahead and take it up, and then I'll do the subclasses.
I'm going to just break really quick without getting too far into them. Here's some of the other classes and some of the other books in Palladium just that can help round out a really good game that you could consider like more roguish than straight up, fight or anything like that. You have entertainers. You have an acrobat and tumbler.
Huh.
Yep. This is all from Book 3, Adventures in the High Seas. You have acrobat, entertainers, actors, the bard. You have the juggler, knife thrower. You have a minstrel, and the prestidigitator.
The digitator.
Prestidigitator.
So he's got to be like a high class diplomat.
I don't know. No, I don't know. Some kind of entertainment. I got to look that up. Yes, I don't know what that means. Sue me. So there's like some interesting classes that you can do. Like these are actual actors that are thrown into, the fantasy game. A lot more some men-at-arms ones. I'm just going to stick with Book 3 for now. There's a lot of different classes they've added. I'm going to stick with Book 3 because I think they have some of the most interesting ones. The Gladiator. So
that one sounds cool.
Yep, you have the Gladiator, which is more of a fighter class. You have, I will touch on this one. This is in Book 7 in Palladium Fantasy of Yinsloth Jungles, the Spy. So you can actually play an actual spy for the king, queen, or whoever is hiring you kind of thing. So a bit of a roguish class. Some optional ones from going back to... actually, Book 3 doesn't have any, so let's just look at this one real quick. Okay. So Book 3 has Seafaring classes, which are really good. The Mariner, the Pirate, and the Sailor. So, Pirate, obviously speaks for itself. If you want to play, Captain Jack Sparrow or for something like that, that's all there. Bit of a rogue class there. There's also, I believe, where is it? One of my favorites. There used to be a swashbuckler on here.
I think I remember that.
Yeah,
I do remember that because I was like, oh, that's cool. They actually have a freaking swashbuckler. I'd rock that. I would rock that.
Yeah, no, he's somewhere on there, but basically it's just exactly your classic movie swashbuckling hero. I guess it actually falls under the sailor class, but basically you're a person of the sea. That's where you get your typical, using the two rapier kind of thing,
right?
And a lot of interesting things here. And then one class that we didn't get to touch on too much, because this is where I think D&D and Palladium deviate a lot, is where Dungeons & Dragons has kind of gotten away from psionics as overall. Yes. Palladium is still kind of heavy into it in some of their games, so they don't. They have clerics and stuff in the other books, but if you're just using the core books for your game, your healer is going to be a psi healer. So basically, it's a natural ability to heal, so it falls under the psionic class. You have higher, PPE than other character classes, obviously, because your base power comes from psionics.
Right.
Level 1, you automatically get Deaden Pain, Exorcism, Healing Touch, Increase Healing, Psychic Diagnosis, Psychic Purification, Psychic Surgery, See Aura, and Empathy. So you start out with those with a pretty big list of psychic abilities, and obviously they grow as you go up in levels.
Right.
And you can kind of, up them where you see fit. Same basic OCC, starting equipment, etc., etc. Limited to things like I think armor and stuff. Restrictive armor kind of affects the abilities. It's not like you can do. It's not much of a fighting class, but you can up your fighting because it starts with hand basic. You can up it, but you have to sacrifice skills for that, which I don't often recommend because these classes are really dependent on their skills.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I definitely agree with that.
So if you're going to play, a character like that, they're an educated class, so they learn 2 additional languages and such, et cetera, et cetera. There's also the Psi Mystic, which is pretty much as it sounds. It's more of a mystical type psionic class. Again, this one starts with exorcism, sense evil, sixth sense, meditation, mind block. Plus, he gets to select 3 powers from the sensitive category and 2 from either the physical or healing category. So it's not much of a healer, little more offensive than the other ones, but still more of a magic class. So this wouldn't be somebody you put in the forefront.
Right.
And this is the one. This is the one that you would use offensively the most. This is the Mind Mage player character class. This is the one that actually is a strike first kind of psionic class, more like the Wizard of Psionics. So if you want to play a more offensive character, you're going to want to use this one, versus the other one. This is more. I'm not going to say it's a tank. It's definitely a striker. Even though you can have some healing abilities with this, but it starts off with Mind Block, See Aura, Alter Aura, meaning yourself. So this is someone, if it's engaged in psychic combat, can actually change its aura. Meditation, plus you get to select 3 from the 4 psionic power categories: healing, sensitive, physical, and super. So that's 12 psi powers total. So this is the most powerful of the psionic classes. Limitations: Mind Wipe, Psi Sword, and Possessed. Others cannot be selected until 3rd level. So yeah, that's just a quick breakdown of those 3 classes. Obviously, the psionic powers, they vary from healing to attack to, subterfuge to distract, that kind of thing. But yeah, those are just a roundup of the few I didn't get to touch on last time.
Nice.
So,
all right. So I'm going to break down real quick. Like I said, before I do go into this, there is one thing. If you do plan on before I go into these 5 the arch types of the rogues, one of them is called the Arcane Trickster. And that's essentially like a Loki character, if you will. He is very good on magic. So he actually has abilities and stuff that allows him to use magic. So that would be the one rogue that you might want to sacrifice charisma to make sure you have a higher intelligence on. Just because, like I said, he does have spells and he's going to have other things. So you're going to want to have that ability out there. You're going to want to be able to, make it upgraded like that. Real quick, just obviously they're coming out with feats all the time. We personally, I brought back what I call monkey hand. You can use a 2-handed weapon in one hand as long as you have that proficiency. It was a 4th edition skill. I kind of brought it back. It's homebrew for those of you who do that.
can I use 2 symbols?
Sure.
I had to. Sorry.
So, real quick, obviously, alert. You want to go with alert. Going first is quintessential for all rogues. Don't pass up on that. Actor. This is a nice bonus because you can. What it does is you can get your. You have essentially, it's like a double, like a doppelganger. You're an actor. You can come up with these disguises. You can come up with these voices. You can. It's essentially makes the rogue exactly that. If you're going to be one of those rogues that does a lot of in depth and infiltration and stuff like that, this is one you want to look at. Crossbow expert. Now this is another thing. You don't have to be a ranged rogue to get this ability. This is a very nice thing to have on the side. If you're building, say, a fight at a range, it's an absolute must because it gives you extra attacks, bonus actions, and a backup if you fail to deliver your sneak attack on your first attack. And unlike 2-handed weapons that you get to apply your ability modifier, the damage with the additional attack. Like I said, this is a good way if you want to use your ranged rogue, But also, if you kind of like want to have a little bit of ranged backup for your melee rogue, it's a good thing to pick up on. Dungeon Delver, handling traps, secret doors. This always comes into a rogue's hands. So just to have that extra skill, have that extra ability, it's a good way, especially if you know you're going to a lot of dungeons. That's a big thing. Inspiring Leader. If you're a charisma-based rogue, do not pass up on this opportunity. This gives you temporary hit points, reduces your need for magic healing. It's essentially like how they used to have the not the warlord, warlord, right? Warlord. I think it was a warlord back in 4th edition. They would give your buddies all these bonuses. Magic Initiative. This is one of those ones, like I said, if you're going to do the Arcane Mage, you want to go, or the Arcane Rogue as it is. It's Arcane Trickster. That's what it is. It's essentially what it is. It allows you to use magic with your sneak attack. So you can get the extra bonus out of there. So if you're using the Arcane Trickster, by all means, look this feat up. Mobile, this is obviously hit and run tactics. Always. So this allows you to run in, attack, and then run safe away without getting an attack of opportunity. Later on, you'll see that the rogue automatically gets that, but that's not till like 17 rounds. So to have that feat early is a really good thing you want to do. Ritual Caster, obviously the Arcane Trickster. You want to have this. It's a good way to just make sure you get advantage on all your attacks, which we all know how many times has advantage helped you.
Never.
Sentinel.
It's a myth.
Good way to get opportunity attacks and therefore give you more opportunity attacks to make sneak attacks. It's just a good way to kind of get everything going together. Sharpshooter, absolutely fantastic. If you're going to be a ranged archer, cannot specify that more. Skilled, with a reliable talent, you can rely on any of the skills that you know, even with a mediocre advanced score. So if you take skilled on something, even if you fail it, there's a chance that you can still pass it. Skulker. This is it's if you like to be a sniper, you kind of you stay hidden, and it's one of those feats on. Obviously, the Weapon Master, you don't want to fuck with that. I mean, it's nice. It's a nice idea, but it's a waste on a rogue because there's only certain weapons that should really fall in a rogue's hands, and it's all pretty much there for you. Crossbow hand, come on, light crossbows are nice, but hand crossbows are more concealed and work very well for a rogue. Dagger. Duh. Rapier and short sword. They do have a long sword and they do have a short bow. I don't like rogues with long swords. I'm sorry, I just don't. There is the swashbuckler class there, the subclass there. Arch. I can never say it. Arch classes, whatever. the sub, I call it subclass, but arcane subclasses is what it is. But one of them is a swashbuckler. So
that's why.
And even then,
that's why we give them their own OCC.
Right. There you go. I'd use a rapier over a freaking longsword. I just don't. I think they're stupid. I just don't. I don't see a rogue using a longsword. I'm sorry.
Well, people. Here's the thing. I don't know why rapiers get such a bad rep. They just don't like the look of them, but they're very effective.
They are exactly.
And they protect your hands. I mean,
yeah. Leather armor is nice. Studded leather is always better. Go for that protection. Multi-classing. I've said this before. I'm not a huge multi-class person.
Me neither.
I will say this: Barbarian Reckless Attack is very tempting because it'll pretty much grant you a probability of getting a higher sneak attack rate. So, I mean, that's a nice way to go. Obviously, fighter, you can go with the two-handed the two-weapon style. That could help you. And ranger, level 2, you get the fighting style that you can access the hunter mark, which makes two-handed weapons more viable, and then you can literally mark your target to give you that advantage with range. So, there's bonuses to doing to multi-classing. I'm still not completely sold on the multi-class. I truly feel like you kind of get away from the class itself. You know what I'm saying? Like you really get away from everything that's like you can't get to level 20, and sometimes 20 is like where all the big ones are. You know, all these huge abilities. All right, so let me go down to the first one we got here, and that would be the first multi-class. There we go. Not. I always say freaking subclass. Okay. So you have the Arcane Trickster. We'll bring that one right off the bat. The Arcane Trickster is exactly what it sounds like. He brings magic to the rogue table. Enchantment, illusion spells. There's trickery, all kinds of different things. Obviously, spellcasting. With the Arcane Trickster, you get spellcasting. You use both these skills to work very well for Arcane Tricksters. Remember, sneak attack requires dexterity-based weapons, so you can't rely on your spells for that. So you would have to make sure if you're doing an Arcane Trickster and you still want to have that bite of your sneak attack, you have to put the dexterity in there, and the intelligence has got to be your backup. Mage Hand, controlling the hand as a bonus action means you can pick locks, pick pockets while you're doing other things. So you're fighting over here, and your mage hand can be picking a lock. Your mage hand could be picking the pocket of the person you're fighting. So cool little thing right there. Magical Ambush. Since your spell DC won't likely be as good as a regular spellcaster, this does a lot to improve the reliability of your spell itself. Versatile Trickster. This advantage allows you to sneak attack the target. You'll use the move hand to move into range for this to work. But if you use your cunning action in the previous round and do so, there you go. This is like Ed said before. It's a thinking class. It's not, you just can't roll in here and expect it. You have to, the stage before, you're doing your cunning action to get yourself in position. The next round, you're doing your major damage, and then you're falling out, maybe getting ready for your spell. You know what I'm saying?
Study that player's guide.
Exactly. Versatile Trickster, that's one I just did, sorry. Spell Thief. It's obvious if you use steal spells from spellcasters. So essentially what you do is you can steal a spell from a mage.
As a thief. All right.
Use it, but use it right then. You know what I'm saying?
This is my only objection to the Dungeons & Dragons system. It seems like eventually everybody becomes a magic user.
No, yes, I do.
That's my only criticism.
I do got to say that. The fighting, obviously, when we did the fighter's mage, the fighter's guide, there's the arcane, the Altric Knight, or whatever.
I feel like with Palladium, if a thief is a thief. A bard is a bard. A magic user is a magic user, and they stay that way. I just this mismatch of magic and stuff is.
So actually, it doesn't specifically say it has to be from enemy spellcasters. You could technically steal a spell from your party member too.
Oh yeah, I get it. It's neat. I don't know. Doesn't seem pure to me. I don't know.
It doesn't seem pure. All right. This is one of the subclasses that I think most people venture towards. The assassin. The assassins are good at two things, people: infiltration, and you guessed it, assassinations. You want to get your character or your player character in a position where he's not seen and can do the max damage. Weapon proficiencies, both toolkits are fantastic. Obviously, this is the way you want to go for. Assassinate. This is an excellent motivation to lead off every combat with huge damage. But sneak attack requires that your attack be dexterity based, so you might want to use either a rapier or a heavy crossbow to do as much damage as possible. Here comes the rapier again, because like we said, it does the same damage as a longsword, but it's not quote unquote the longsword. Infiltration expertise, situational, but very flavorful and absolutely fantastic in all situations. So what this does is this allows you to perfectly infiltrate yourself into a structure, into a self-based, self-going structure. So you're no questions, nothing else. Imposter, same thing. It's situational. You're gonna have to be one of those campaigns where the DM is really, really working with you and you just lead yourself in there. And then, of course, the biggest thing for being an assassin, your death strike. Combined with sneak attack and assassination, this is quite possibly the most damage any subclass will offer you. If you do things right, including with your feats and everything else, you could coup de grace a motherfucker like that with the assassin class. It is no joke. It is not no issues. But you have to be smart. You have to be situation, and you have to take the shots when it's available.
And they say you can't win in an RPG.
Right? Winners. We're
Winners.
teaching you how to win right now. Inquisitive. So this is one of those ones I just recently found out about. And I was when I read it, I was like, okay, I can see this. It's pretty much the whole idea is he's incredible at finding everything. Hidden traps, doors, locks, treasure, and invisible people. Like, he can find them all. He is the see all be all of everything. Ear for the decent. It's just like it says. I mean, he literally can hear a mouse fart from 15 rooms over. Eye for detail. Like we said, find hidden creatures. If there's something that's hidden by magic, you'll be able to find it. Insightful fighting. An ear for deceit will make this very viable. Last for a full minute. Now, a minute in D&D, keep that in mind, is 8 rounds. Mm-hmm. 8 rounds. So that's a long time. And that's plenty of time for you to have this benefit going on. Even if you used your first check and it's gone, you still have like 7 other rounds for this to go through. Steady eye, same thing. You set it up and it allows you to take the advantage or reroll advantages. Unerring eye, wisdom isn't especially useful. However, with this, it helps bonus or build up your wisdom. This is just another one of those things. If you get attacked by a spell, it's just a nice way of saying, hey, we gave you a wisdom check here, even though you shouldn't have wisdom. Just like you said, everybody has to, everybody has to do their spy or their magic thing. An eye for weakness. This is really cool. This is it's essentially, it gives you the bonus damage because you know how to hit the person. So you get advantage, and then you get the bonuses on the dice rolls as well for the damage. Mastermind, where we at? Oh, shit.
No, you can go ahead.
Okay.
Finish up real quick.
Okay. Well, actually, let's do it now because this is the next class. So we're going to take a quick little break, and we'll be right back at you.
Quick break, and we'll be back.
All right. And typically, this is with a lot of people. They tend to think that this is one of the better subclasses for the thief. It's called Mastermind. This works in a game that has a lot of intrigue, social interactions, which really you want any of your games to have that. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? You don't just want to constantly be going down and fighting dungeons and doing dungeon crawls and haunted forests and all that crazy shit. So when you have stuff like that, it makes it more exciting for you. Master of Intrigue, pile of proficiencies, which you'll never use, but they might be very useful depending on the style of your game. Master of Tactics. It gives you a target advantage, which is pretty great for a lot of characters. Of course, as a rogue, no one needs fucking advantages as much as the rogue needs advantages. Insightful Manipulator. It's a fun way to metagame. So if you're pretty much in cahoots with the DM, like we said, this is going to be one of those games that have a lot of intrigue, social interactions. You can work with your DM, and you can work this as you're almost helping form the story. You're helping the story flow with your actions and your manipulation, so to say. Misdirection. The ability to hide behind a creature that's one size larger than you is always a nice ability. It also gives you as much cover as you can be. If you're in light, it'll shield you, almost make you seem like you're dark. It's a good way of misdirecting and hiding yourself from the enemy. And then Soul of Deceit. This is one of those ones. It's a very situational thing, but it's mega damage. It's one of those, if you're in the right situation, and that's what, just like we said before, you need to be thinking about this. If you know you're going to be utilizing this attack has got to be set up. Most of the times your sneak attacks have got to be set up. You're not just going to go rolling in and be like, I sneak attack that guy. It's not going to work like that. You're going to have to use... As
soon as a character, they put eyes on you, you're found.
As soon as you go in there, your first turn, your first round should be movement. getting yourself in the best situation possible for the biggest guy. I am saying pick on the biggest guy. Go for that leader, but make sure you got a tanky tank and make sure you got a little healer that's taking care of you on the side as well, because that's gonna make sure that you stay alive. The scouts are easily they're pretty much they're the nature rogues, if you will. If you're in a Dragonlance,
they're the Unranger.
There you go, the Unranger. I like that. Yeah. I like that. They had the Outlander Ranger.
Yes.
So skirmisher, it's ranged. They're essentially, this is a ranged rogue. Survivalist, 2 new skills and expertise with both of them. Superior mobility. This is nice. This is one of those, I think you double your movement to get you out of the area. So that's nice. Ambushmaster. Plan and pick up the alert feat for bonus initiative rolls. You want to go first, maximize it. Essentially, this is a way to make sure that you always go first. You never, especially like I said, if you pick up the feat alert, there's never going to be a time when you're not going first. And as a rogue, you always want to go first. You always want to go first. You want to be the first one making your movements. You want to be the first ones doing your damage. You want to be the first one out there making that contact, because your buddies are going to be the ones that follow that up. When you do that initial damage, you're not going to be out there destroying the person, the first target. You're going to do so much damage to this thing the first round that your buddies are going to follow it up and complete what you started. I'm not going to say there's not going to be times out there when you're not going to destroy somebody, because you're going to be in a situation where the big bad guy, the big bad evil guy is at, like, say 55 hit points, and you put yourself in that situation, bam, take out that sneak attack, and you do 120 points of damage. It's going to happen.
Yeah, if you're in a group of strategy gamers, which we try to be sometimes.
Yeah.
The scout is basically going to be the point man, and if you make a plan, you want the plan to come together. So you got to do it right. You got to support your scout for one, because he's going to be in harm's way, and he's the one that's actually going to get the messaging to you, let you know this is what's happening. Don't walk in through here.
Right.
So if you're playing a scout, that player's guide, study it, study the character. Play your character.
Know what your character brings to the table.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
These guides are exactly that. They're just here to help you be a better fighter, or let you know what's available out there. Like we said,
right.
maybe you want to be a rogue, but you didn't know that they had the assassin class, or you didn't know they had the arcane trickster, and now this is something that you want to look into. Look into it. Figure out what's going to work for your play style. Number one.
I've been guilty of that in the past, where I've played a fighter as not a magic user, but as something else, or like an assassin or something, and because I didn't know it was a class, and
you miss out a lot of things, right? Or you're not planning to be a fighter. Maybe you are planning on almost being an assassin, so you start picking your feats based off of that, and not so much what's going to complement your fighter. You know what I'm saying?
And if you're not happy with the character you're playing, there's an easy solution.
Yep.
Start over.
Just tell.
It's a game piece. Get yourself a new game piece.
Exactly. Just tell your DM, look, dude, I thought I could do this. I can't. It's hard. I'm not feeling this class.
Just don't do it in Mike's game, because he'll turn you into an NPC and turn you into a statue.
Yeah, it's great. And the last thing that the scout has is sudden strike. This extra attack consumes a bonus action. However, it effectively doubles your damage output, which is amazing on any level. Let's be honest about that. So for the price of an action, you can pretty much essentially do double the damage that you normally would on that back attack. Swashbuckler is the second to last subclass out there, and this is the one that we were talking about.
Palladium has
it as well. This is obviously just what it says, a swashbuckler. The guys with the fantastic hats and the rapiers and the Three Musketeers and the
classic
around.
Errol Flynn hero from those
exactly.
old movies. If that's what you've wanted to play, that's the class for you.
Exactly, and there you go. Fancy footwork. First thing you get it right off the bat. You only need to attack the target, not hit them. So if you miss, you don't want to stay in melee range. You can retreat unimpeded. So what that means is you can go in, you can literally try to hit this guy with your rapier, miss and say, oops, my bad, and take off with no repercussions whatsoever.
Hey,
and then, of
we
course,
love the rapier.
we talked about earlier, you already get cunning action being a thief. Remember those ones that I showed you before you even got to the subclasses? Put that in with this, and there you go. Now you have an enemy that ain't going to do shit and even can't retaliate on you. Rockish Audacity. This is absurdly good. Any rogue can sneak attack. Everybody knows that. If an ally is within 5 feet of the target. However, Rockish Audacity allows you to sneak attack if no one except the target is adjacent to you, which means as long as you're not getting ganged up, you can reliably sneak attack whenever you hit. Now, keep that in mind, what I just said. The sneak attack rule, unless you have an ally who is 5 feet from you, you cannot sneak attack the enemy. The reason being is because the enemy is very much focused on you. Mm-hmm. If there is people there, then the enemy is not so much focused on you, and now it allows you to do a sneak attack. The Rockish Audacity allows you to take a sneak attack at any time.
I want to just add too. This is why I'm kind of glad the miniatures and the terrain is taken off, because now, like you said, just people would go and be like, "Oh, I sneak attack." Now you can actually look at it and be like,
"Yeah, how? Exactly?
What are you doing?" It gives a whole new. 'Cause that's that classic dungeon master phrase there. What are you doing? So now it's like, show me.
Yeah, exactly. Panache, tanking generally isn't the rogue's biggest skill set, but the first portion of this ability is essentially a taunt. Anything that's within 60-foot range can essentially it's a cheap metagame trick. So I could be over here in the range. I essentially taunt the enemy. It's enough to pull the enemy away from the tank at the time. And if I'm 60 feet away, what that does is that literally leaves an attack of opportunity for my tanky tank. And this guy is trying to charge at me. You're talking maybe max 10 feet. 10 feet he can run, or whatever, 25 I think it is. So 5 squares. 5 squares, and if he's charging, you add 2 more onto that. That's 7 squares. But I'm 60 away. So that means I'm 20 squares away or 30 squares away, whatever it is. You're not getting to me. So it's essentially a trick that's going to pull the enemy away from your tank and allow him to get fucking...
If you've ever watched the first Pirates of the Caribbean movie and you watch when Jack Sparrow is fighting with Orlando Bloom's character, I forget his name, that whole fight, panache.
Yeah, there you go.
That's the whole thing, panache.
Yes, exactly. So, there you go.
Character study.
Elegant maneuver. Advantage is great, especially on a skill like athletics, which use shove, and then you can use it to shove the enemies prone, which, hey, guess what? Now your tanky tank gets to fuck him up. It's essentially another way of getting yourself away from a situation, not getting an attack of opportunity, putting yourself into a better situation of maybe getting that next sneak attack again. Master Duelist. Sometimes you can't risk missing. In those cases, this is a lifesaver. Most of those times you can still use the fancy footwork to move away. Remember, we talked about that earlier. But if that's not an option, you use Master Duelist. And essentially what this lets you do is re-roll your miss. So if you want to stay in the fight and you're at that higher level, you use this. If you don't want to stay in that fight, you use that fancy footwork and you get out with no repercussions whatsoever. The last, but certainly not least subclass, believe it or not, is the Thief. That's right, the vanilla Thief, the Rogue, as everybody just likes to call it, the Thief.
I don't get it. What do you mean Thief?
I know, right? The Thief is the most reliable and very effective at tasks which most associate with the Rogue. Imagine that.
It's like the foundation for
exactly,
Rogue.
Exactly. It is the quintessential Rogue. That's exactly what it is. Fast
When you say Rogue, Thief says, hold my beer.
Yeah, there you go. Fast hands. Disarming traps and open locks can typically wait until you finish combat, but using this option as a bonus action can include many things like drinking potions, throwing a weapon to a friend. You don't necessarily have to focus on traps with fast hands. This allows you to take an action like that. Second story work, One thing, once again, situational. You have to be in the right situation, and DM will be there, to help you out with that. Supreme Sneak, if you combine this with expertise, you are close to undetectable. Close. They can still get you with magic. Keep that in mind. But by being undetectable, that means you're doing the max damage on your stealth or on your sneak attacks. Use Magic Device. This opens up all manner of weapons, wands, staves, which are normally limited to specific characters. Therefore, your thief could use the Wand of Fireball, the Staff of Never-Ending Snakes, or whatever. This, like, a rogue normally can't use these. But with this ability...
You just made me miss the 80s when we just I know. Make up whatever staff we wanted. It's like, bag of cockroaches.
Right? And last but not least, Thieves' Reflexes. 2 entirely turns is crazy. You can sneak attack twice, probably before the enemy even gets the chance to act. Think about that. 2 sneak attacks, people. Now that's... You have all the other subclasses have ways that they take that 1 sneak attack and guarantee the double the damage. No. This is 2 sneak attacks. So it's not double the damage. You could essentially murder something by just being fantastic.
This is where I'm going to give 5th edition a lot of credit because, like I said, I have criticized the magic part. Mm-hmm. It does bother me a little bit. But I do think when it comes to the classes like the Thief, so if you go back, let's go back to Advanced Dungeons and Dragons, which is like probably my favorite edition, really.
Yes.
The Thief was the one with pickpocket and pick locks. That was it.
Yeah. Yep.
And now
1 sneak attack. Well, they did have back attack.
Yeah, back attack. Or backstab, whatever they call
That's
it.
what it was. Backstab.
And now they've actually taken the classes and they've created this whole art form around it.
Yeah.
Which I do like a lot. So it's like a thief isn't just a thief. A thief is an acrobat. It's, a spy. It's all of that wrapped into one. They got a lot more abilities. There's more to it than just sneaking behind something, picking locks, this, that. When you play a thief, you're no longer that guy like, hey, we can't get in here. Joey, pick the lock.
It's more than that.
Right.
The thief now is the diplomat. The thief is the face of the party. The thief is just like you said, the acrobat, the one that's getting behind the scenes, the one who's hiding in the shadows, the one that's trying to set up the max damage to set up the rest of the team for everything else, the one finding the doors, the one finding the treasure chest, the one finding the bad guy who's been invisible the whole freaking time.
I mean, you can play the basic pickpocket if you want, but you're not going to enjoy the game as much.
No,
definitely not.
Absolutely not.
So that's one thing I do like about 5th edition. Each character class is a lot more well-rounded.
Yes.
Aside from like magic users, obviously magic. That makes sense. Fighters now are a lot more well-rounded. There's a reason they're fighters. There's a reason there's
they have the most attacks
monks
in the game, which they need. Oh, besides the monk. The monk has the most attacks of any character class out there. But the fighter is right there, but they're also doing max damage because they're using swords and stuff, and then the monk's using their fists.
But the monk doesn't wear armor.
Right.
So, I mean, there's trade-offs.
Right, exactly.
So there's no such thing really. I think a barbarian's a little OP. I've always felt that way. But other than that, they're all have their
it's the same thing.
minuses.
If they're out there by themselves, yes, they do the massive damage. But when their rage ends, they end, and you really need to have that support. You know what I'm saying? That your team. It's important that no matter what character you choose, no matter what class you choose, you're in with your buddies 110%. You're on the same page. You're thinking like your character's supposed to think. Now, with these guides, like we said before, if you have any questions, please feel free to contact me personally. If you need anything like that.
We're on Twitter.
Right, we're on Twitter. Our names are right there in the beginning. You'll find us there. You can leave us a message through the website. I'll be more than happy to specifically make a character, with your questions. Like, oh, well, I had an idea of if I did alert and this, that, and the other thing. Dude, I have no problems sitting down and writing all this stuff down for you and sending it out to you if that's going to help you understand this more. Like I said, when we essentially did this, our whole idea was to introduce you to these characters and help you make a decision, because maybe you didn't know the subclasses were out there. Maybe you didn't know the OCC skills that were available at first. You know what I'm saying? Maybe you didn't think that there was a Psi magic healer. And now you know. So now these options are available to you, and now this opens new doors and new playable characters that you can essentially
or maybe
take in.
Like me, I have to use the D&D Beyond tools.
Yeah,
because I just have to do that. So when they say make a character, that's what I do. So maybe you did that, and you're not tapping into what specialty your fighter, thief, or magic user is, and you're just kind of like, Eldritch Blast.
Yeah. Don't be that guy. Don't be that guy.
No, we love that guy. Actually, I was on his Twitch stream the other day. He was like playing his game. I jumped in, and first thing I said, I was like, Eldritch Blast. He starts laughing, gives me the salute, and he's like, I wish I could.
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah, Jacob.
One of our other gamer guys out there he's using a warlock.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yep.
but that with nefarious necromance behaviors.
He's got necromancy tendencies.
Tendencies. That's it. That's it.
But hey, before we wrap this up, just one thing I wanted to bring up. So yesterday was, by the time we're recording this, yesterday was Friday the 13th.
Yes.
Friday the 13th was the release of the Juggernaut Edition of State of Decay 2.
Yes, I downloaded that, and I am ready. I unfortunately lost one of my people.
Well, here's the thing. I was excited. I logged in. I'm like, I'll just check it out a little bit. I won't get too far into it. And, it downloaded an update the day prior. So I'm like, I'm going to be able to just fire it up, check it out. Go in there. There's a message. Oh, hey, if you want to play the Juggernaut Edition, what we need you to do is completely uninstall the game and then reinstall the game, get the update. And I'm just like, so you did an update just to put that up?
Yes.
I'm like, ugh. So I did reinstall the game. All right, click, it's not going. Click, it's not going. What the hell? What's going on? I keep trying to load the game. Finally, a message comes up, says, oh, hey, we're updating State of Decay 2 right now. We'll let you know when it's done. And I'm looking, and it's this really slow bar that wasn't done till this morning.
Yeah.
So I did check out a little bit. And I do like.
I was gonna say I didn't check out the Juggernaut. I started downloading the new one, so they're probably gonna have me do that now. But I was actually playing one of my what we call the Nightmare crew.
Yeah.
Because we tried doing the Nightmare before, and
we got our asses kicked.
Well, we did because, like I said, we weren't even prepared. We thought it was I thought I actually had characters that I put some time into. But I just remembered I made like a whole new fucking town, so all these guys were green. Yes. It was bad.
I just picked 3 of like an auto mechanic, a surgeon, and an engineer, and I just wanted to check out the new map, and I like it. It's a logging community. It's
I remember
cool.
you saying that. Yes,
they start you out with a little bigger base that has a huge tower. That's where you sleep. And I don't know. I think it's gonna be fun. I can't wait. So we'll probably Twitch that.
Yeah.
And last time was hilarious.
Yeah. Oh my God, that was so fun.
Yeah,
that was funny.
When we Twitch State of Decay 2, man, it's a riot.
Yeah, you definitely got to be around for that. And like so, we'll try to give you updates on whenever we can do that.
Because we revel in our ineptness sometimes.
It's fucking ridiculous. It was, and then we get all of our buddies in there, and it gets that much.
Oh
more
yeah,
fun.
it was awesome.
It really does. It really does. All right, well, guys, we hope that you enjoyed these guides. Next week, I'm going to bring the cleric to the table, and whatever you're going to be.
I'll touch on some. I touch on, like I said, the Psi healer and stuff. I'm gonna put together a presentation on something for next week.
Nice.
I'll figure it out.
And like I said, while you guys are quarantined, make sure you catch up on all the Basement Quest goodness. And if you haven't seen last week's episode about Delta Green and you are wondering about Delta Green, my God, Vince did a freaking fantastic job. It makes me. I actually had our buddy Rob he's like, I want to play that game now. He was like, it was so informative. And also, don't forget, we're still looking for Pathfinder players out there. If you are a Pathfinder player and you think that you can be like Vince and give us a very, very detailed explanation of Pathfinder, contact us. We would love to have you on the show, just like we had Vince from Black
Project Gaming.
Thank you, from Black Project Gaming. Come out and give us, like I said, just the teardown of that fantastic game. And we've had questions about Pathfinder a few times. A couple people have kind of hinted, but I haven't had anything solid yet. So if you're interested, DM one of us, get a hold of us. Just like we said, we had Vince on here, and a couple weeks later, boom, we had the show going.
Also, speaking of quarantine, Be starting my Dead Ring campaign pretty soon. Pretty excited. Everybody, I love the characters everyone's rolled up so far.
Yeah, we had
I'm
fun.
pretty excited.
We had a fun time.
I'm more excited about this game than I've been about others in the past.
And that's a good feeling when your DM is excited, when your GM is excited. It makes it that much
I honestly,
better.
I didn't know what to expect, what everyone was going to pick, and then I was like, "You're going to be Houndmaster."
Yep.
Pretty excited about that. We got a soldier.
Yep.
We got a farmer.
I
was like, "Wow, all right." We got a farmer. We got a shepherd of the
damned. Yep.
What's Alan doing? What was Al doing? I forgot. Reaper.
Oh,
Al's
that's right.
Reaper.
He's a Reaper. Yep.
Yep. Yeah, it's just going to be good. I got Brian's going to be a scrounger.
That's right. Yep.
Brian Jacob and was on the show, and touching on the Dungeons and Dragons game. I think that was episode 3.
Yes.
So if you want to check them out, sorry, there's no video, but
yeah, there is no video. We have a very strong suspicion that Jake did something with that.
Yeah,
Jake doesn't like to be on the.
I think Jake is Delta Green. He is Delta Green.
Yeah, he doesn't like his face, and the fact that he actually agreed that he was going to be on the video was incredible.
Like, wow.
But the video never recorded. Yeah. You can hear him.
And speaking of our gaming group, we've been doing a talk. So when we do our weekend gaming, we're gonna ask one or two of the guys to come on and give us a report card.
Yeah, we're
gonna put ourselves on the chopping block.
Yeah, that should be fun too.
For you folks.
To that. Yeah, we're looking forward to that. And I'm finishing up my last details on the heroic holodeck main events.
Oh yeah.
Just got to give the rules over here to Ed for him to finalization, see how he likes it.
Yep.
And then we'll be giving you the first one running through there. So I'm looking forward to that one too. It's gonna be great. We got great content for you guys. Yes. We have great content. Plenty of nerd deliciousness for you.
Yes. And it's all in quarantine because there's probably not going to be any cons or anything. Nope. So I'm wondering about that one that we were talking about, whether or not that's going to happen. I don't think they're going to do
it, man, because it can't have more than 200 people in a place now. They cut that out. So and now they're saying like places like was it New Haven? Now they're saying half occupancy for movie places, restaurants, and bars.
Yeah.
So if you had like an occupancy of 120, it can only be 60 now. So I mean, it's getting serious. They're not letting people really hang out anymore. So hey, that Roll20, here's a good chance for you guys to check it out, man. If you want to play and you're just afraid to go out right now, hit that Roll20. Hit up some of these great people.
I want to shout out some of my old friends from my DJing days. They're going to be doing a quarantine DJ live stream throughout all of Facebook. That's awesome. So that's going to be awesome if you like that kind of music. But again, thanks. Hit subscribe, hit the bell. If you're listening to this on Apple Podcasts or Stitcher, leave us a review.
Please.
If you listen on Spotify, you can share it to your Facebook stories, your Instagram stories. Yeah. That's basically it. And if you want to contribute to the show, you can do it at anchor.fm/Basement Quest. If you like the content, as little as 99 cents a month.
Hey, it helps us. It helps us get all the stuff out there, like I said, and just give you the quality Basement Quest goodness that you're used to.
Yes. And as always, basementquest.com for everything.
Everything. Contact us. Like I said, if you want more information, if you're like, Mike, I want to make a fighter, and I had this, that, and the other thing, please help me. No problem.
Or hell, if you think we're full of shit, come tell us.
Yeah. We'll be there. I'll be there to back it up. I'll show you.
See you next week.
Absolutely. Love you guys.